Do it again. Blow kisses. Blow another kiss. Can you blow another kiss? Oh, good job. Okay. Can you do peekaboo? Peekaboo. Peekaboo. Do it again. Peekaboo. All right, I'm gonna go give you back to Daddy, okay? And then we're gonna start our calculus because I bet you I know that they'd rather watch you probably. Oh, one more time. Peekaboo, peekaboo. All right, we'll be back. I'll be back in a second. All right. Okay, I'll send you again, okay? All right, here we go. I got to send Ellie the code thing so she can take roll for me. Copy joining info. All right, Ellie, you should have it. All right, here we go. Okay, so I'm going to get started. And so today, it's hard because I really have a feeling they're going to do rates, okay? So I really want to not leave you guys hanging high and dry and not do any rate problems just because they're calculator problems. But it's kind of tough because I know that they're calculator problems and they aren't going to be calculator problems this year, and I've lost one of my problems. What did I do with it? Got 2019. Where is 2017? My desk is as bad as at work, if not worse right now. Okay, well, we'll start with 2019. All right, and then I'll find it while Andy's telling his joke. Oh, wait. Is that it? Nope. Okay. All right, so we'll start with 2019. Let me share my screen with you. All right. Awesome that we got like 20 of us to show up on a Saturday, so I know you guys are super serious about passing this test this year. Okay. Here we go. All right, don't look at that one. That was the BC stuff. We're going to go to, not that one, this one, and we're going to go to here. I'm going to scroll down to the 2019 because I have that one in front of me. All right, here we go. Okay, I'm going to switch to tablet mode. All right, so I'm reading the 2019 number one. Remember, I can't write it all out. So we have fish enter a lake at a rate modeled by the function e, given by e of t equals 20 plus 15 sine of pi over t6. Obviously, if it's a crazy function like that, they're not going to make you do something like this by hand. If it was like this on the AP test, it'd probably say sine of pi t this year, okay? It wouldn't be pi over, it would probably be something much simpler, okay? Or just sine of t, or like t over 6. They wouldn't be this crazy. Fish leave the lake at a rate modeled by the function L, given by L of t equals 4 plus 2 to the 0.1 t squared. Again, crazy looking stuff, okay? Remember, whenever, ever we see that word rate, that means that it is a derivative. That means that function is already in its derivative forms. It's not the original function, it's the first derivative, okay? They also say that both E of t and L of t are measured in fish per hour, and t is measured in hours since midnight. So t is hours since midnight. And t is really starting at 0. It says, so midnight is our 0 hour. Then it asks how many. Remember, how many means that I'm probably going to have to integrate to get there. That means I am looking for a total of something, okay? So how many fish enter at over the 5-hour period from t equals 0 to t equals 5? Give your answer to the nearest whole number. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and integrate it. So we're going to integrate, and we know that if it's the first 5 hours, that means and I know I started here, so I've got to go from 0 to 5. Okay. And then I've got to use the function e of t because that was wanting the how many fish enter. So e of t dt. And again, I'm using the named function. If it was a nice function, that you would probably write the function there because you might have to integrate by hand. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead. I have Desmos going, so I'm going to put it, and I kind of put them into Desmos already for you, 2019. So there's the function E in Desmos. I'm not worried about this graph stuff at all. I don't really care what it looks like. I know I've got to integrate, so I'm just going to start typing the word integral. Notice I said I put INT and the integral came up. Again, you can have Desmos out during this test this year. I don't think you're going to need it, but you can have it out. So we're going to go from 0 to, we said, 5. And then I'm going to type in E of T, oops, I don't know why it's E sub 9, E parentheses T. And then the key is making sure, because notice I had the error symbol until I have the DT in there, and then I've got the answer, okay? So it is 153.457690, okay? And then for points on this one here, we need, we get 1 point for the integral, so 1 point for that and 1 point for the answer. Any questions on that one? And these are going to start to all kind of seem the same, because this one and the other one I picked are almost identical problems. You got a question? Lorenzo, yes. What's up?
When it says round to the nearest whole number, do we just...
You're correct. I need to round to the nearest whole number. So really I should have written 153, and that would have gotten me my point. Let's see, did they label it? They didn't really label it. They would, oh, they did. They did write a sentence. This is what they wrote out: to the nearest whole. Not that I think you would necessarily need this. Nearest whole number, 153. This is a word problem. Really, we should end in a sentence. Fish enter the lake from, and you put it back in the context of the problem. You could put in the first 5 hours, that would be fine, or you could say from midnight to 5 a.m. In first 5 hours. Okay. All right, good catch. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, any other questions on that part? And I don't have a good, whatchamacallit. All right. Do we have to put fish? I'm not sure what I mean. You mean, Gabby, do we have to put fish?
Mom,
yes.
can you send me the code?
I did.
You did?
Yes. Sent it to you twice today now. Sent. You have it. Refresh your email. Okay. Hit the refresh button. Okay, here we go. Okay, let's look at part B, because I know we're looking forward to whatever joke Andy has in for us. Do we have to add fish after the 153? Yes, you could probably put fish in there. Probably the sentence is better. It's a little bit more descriptive, okay? All right, 14,000 emails. Yes, it's insane. I don't clean it out very often. I have cleaned it a little bit. I did clean out my personal one that I've had for like 20 years. I decided to delete everything. And then Hotmail, because it was that old, I'm that old, and I had a Hotmail account. But it's like where I send all my junk mail to. Hotmail locked me out. I've had the email address for 20 years and I could not get back into it, but I can't do anything now. Like, thank God my husband's the one that has all the bills under his email address. So, all right. So this one here is going to probably be more for the BC than the AB, because it's talking about average value. Okay. But again, AB kids, you're going to have to do it next year when you're with me anyway. So we might as well just write it down. Okay. So what is the average number of fish that leave the lake per hour over the 5 hour period? Well, average and anything but the words rate of change means you're going to integrate. And you have to integrate, you have to do the 1 over B minus A thing. So my B and my A would be 0 and 5. So I really don't need to write 5 minus 0. I'm just going to write 1/5. Okay, I'm going to shortcut that a little bit. And then I've got to go from 0 to 5. And it says it's talking about leaving, so I need the L of T dt. Okay. And again, I'm going to go back to Desmos and let Desmos do the work for me. So I'm going to do my 1/5, and then I'm going to get my integral in there. I'm going to go from 0 to 5, and then my named function. And again, the key in Desmos is those named functions. Okay. Why it wants subscripts today. And then I have to put a dt on the end. Okay. That's the average number of fish that are leaving. Okay, so let's write that down. Write it nice. So we would have written that it is 6.059038. This one, notice, it doesn't say go to the nearest whole, so you need to keep it in the decimal point, 3 decimal place accuracy. Okay, So average number of fish that leave the lake at time t is, I'm sorry, not at time t. I'm looking down at the wrong thing. That leave the lake per hour from midnight. I'm not midnight to 5 a.m. is 6.059. I guess you could do fish per hour. All right, let's set up the next one. All right, so this one says in part C, at what time? Okay, so we're not looking for, that means we're looking for more of an X value or a T value than we're looking for a Y value, okay? On the interval from 0 to 8 is the greatest number. A greatest number means we are looking for a max, and not a relative max, but an absolute max. So we're gonna do the table problem like we did yesterday. Average is the greatest number of fish in the length, justify your answer. So this is the one where we are allowed to justify with a table, okay? So before we can find the greatest number, or if we're gonna find the greatest number, we need to know a total number of fish in the lake. So I am going to make a total equation, okay? So I am going to, and I'm gonna go ahead and give it, I'm just gonna make a total equation. All right, so my total equation is gonna be the integral from 0, I'm going to use an arbitrary letter t because that's what they used. And then I know that it's got to be the fish entering minus the fish leaving. Notice they didn't say anything about how many, an initial condition. They only said something about a 0. Okay. So if there's no initial condition that we have to worry about on this one. So it's the entering, and I'm going to use an arbitrary variable. I'm going to go S. I could use an X, you could use a T. We've already used a T. Even if you used a T in here, it wouldn't be a big deal because it's just an arbitrary letter, okay? All right, so that's the entering minus the leaving. We're gonna integrate that. So if that's gonna be my total number of fish, in order to get critical numbers off of that, I have to take its derivative. So I'm gonna take its derivative and set it equal to 0. So remember, the derivative of the integral means I cancel that out. So E of S, actually, and you plug in this T that's right there. So it's going to turn into E of T minus L of T, E, and we're going to set that equal to 0. So this is going to get us critical numbers. Okay, so this is where I'm going to go back to, whatchamacallit? I'm going to go back to Desmos. I'm going to probably X those guys out there. And I want to graph E of T minus L of T so I can figure out my 0. So E of T minus L of T. Oh, that did not give me what I wanted. Oh, I know what I have to do. I have to put a Y equals in there. And that should give me the graph. I don't want the slider though. There we go. Okay, so I've got my black graph right there. It's E of T minus L of T. We are between 0 and T. So, ooh, I'm on the wrong part. Is there? Oh, look right there. So there's a value right there. It looks like it's at whatever that decimal point is right there. Now, Desmos does not give me as accurate an answer as the calculator does. It should be really more than that decimal. So we're going to I'm going to give you some more digits than that decimal because I would have done it in the calculator otherwise. So that's a rounded value actually. So, but we're close. So this is why this year it's not going to be off of Desmos. Thank goodness. All right, so we know that this means that T is equal to 6.203. It was 5.6. Okay, so I'm going to set up my T chart. So my T chart here is going to be T, and this is the total amount of fish. So the total amount of fish. That was the only candidate in there, the only critical number. So I know I need my endpoints as well. My endpoints are 0 and 8. So I have 0 and 8 and 6.20356. Well, according to the model, really what they told us right here is that we're assuming there's no fish at the entry point. So they're assuming no fish are in there. Okay, even though it's probably not in theory true, but they're assuming that there's no fish. Okay. Then I've got to put this value into these two values into here. Okay, so I'm going to go back and do those two in Desmos. Okay, so here we go. Oh, well, let's think about that. I know that there's no fish because if I integrated from 0 to 0, whatever my function is when I integrate from 0 to 0 has to be 0 because I have the same number there. So that's why there's 0, according to my integral model. All right, so here we go. We're going to integrate from 0 to the 6.20356 of E of t minus L of t. Okay. Oh, dt. Something didn't go right. They didn't like it. E of t minus L of t. What did I mess up? I've got E of t. I've got L of t. What's going on? Let me get rid of this guy maybe. That didn't help. Equals? No, it's not working. What happened? Sorry, I didn't pre-do this. 6.203. Oh, I totally lost it all. We're starting over again. Apparently 0. Oh, I know what I missed. I figured it out. 6.20356. I should have put it in parentheses. So E of t minus L of t dt. There we go. Okay, so the first one's 135. And notice, weird, I get more decimals here than I do on the graph. So this is more accurate. So that decimal, and then I'm going to do it again. And I'm going to go to 8. Okay, and I've got 80.9. Okay, so let's write those numbers down. So my first one was 135.01492. My other one is 80.91998. Okay. So we're looking for the time of the maximum amount of fish. Okay. So because it said at what time. So we're looking really for what's something in this value, but we're looking for the biggest number in here, which is obviously that. So our time is this number right here. So therefore, the greatest number of fish in the lake, and again, I'm just restating the questions, Tim, in the lake is at time t equals 6.203, and you could stop there. 5, 6 is fine. Okay, any questions on part C? I figured, David, I think I answered that question on the, I assumed it was 0. I shouldn't have. It was 0 to 0. Then we plug inside the, I was figured it out. Okay. Lorenzo, do you have the question?
Yeah. For problems like these where we have to justify our answers using the math, by just working out the math, do we have to write out our answers in word and sentences?
This is as much of a concluding sentence that I have up there as you'd want to do.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
If you're in the other case, the relative maxes and mins, you need that explanation in that sentence. This is the one and only time they let that table be the justification, is on an absolute. Okay.
Okay.
All right, David, I'm not sure what you're asking. Is there any time that you'd have to search more than this? I'm not sure about what you mean to search for.
Okay, what I meant was, because we have 0 to 8 for the time, and then we have 6.2. Like, say if there's actually a number for total fish that was bigger, but it was in between 6.2 and 8.
Correct. So when we looked at our graph, and I erased that part of the graph, when we looked at our graph, we noticed that it was between that we only use that interval between 0 and there was only 1 0 in there. So that's why we only use this one number right here. Okay. If there was more than 1 0, then we would have more than one. We would have more of these that we'd have to look at, and so we'd have to put more in. So it might be that another one comes in as a maximum. Did I get the Did I answer to your question, David?
Yeah, it was kind of hard. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Blanca said I didn't do the points. Okay. So let me put the points on, and then Nate, I'll get your question. Okay. So part B would have been 1 point for the integral and 1 point for this answer. Okay. And then part C, we get 1 point for this setting it equal to 0, knowing how to get your critical points. You get 1 point for the answer, which is really this, and then 1 point for this justification. All right, which equation do we plug the final t values into? So Nate, what we're plugging into was this one right here that I boxed. You're plugging into the total number of fish on this one. When we do the relative maxes and mins, that's when we plug into the derivative. When we do the absolutes, we plug into kind of an original situation. So we needed to plug into a total. And I hope I answered that, Nate. All right, any other questions on this part before I move to part D and we get Andy ready for his joke of the day? Okay. All right, Andy, your joke's on in like 3 minutes. We'll see if he heard me. Okay. Sorry, I'm screaming into the microphone. All right, I don't have Alexa in this room, so I can't be nice about it. Part D says that we have, is the rate of change in the number of fish in the lake increasing or decreasing at 5 a.m.? Explain your reasoning. Okay, so now here, increasing and decreasing, remember, come from a derivative. But we're talking about rate of change, which is already derivative, right? So it's a slope. So really, I just have to look at the first derivative. They gave us the first derivatives. We have to decide if it's increasing or decreasing at this time. So what we did with this one, and we saw this yesterday as well, is we take and evaluate them at 5 and we subtract and we see if we get a positive or a negative off of this, off the rate. So I'm going to use, I guess he's going to get here in here has less than 3 minutes to get in here. Oh, he's here. Okay, give me a minute. I got to finish this problem. Okay. Yeah. All right. So we're going to look at, we're going to just do E of 5 minus L of 5. And we ended up with, I don't know if this is what they got. They did not get that. What happened? Oh, I have to look at the derivatives of them. I'm sorry. We didn't have that. We needed since it's the rate of change of the number of fish. I didn't read that right. Is the rate of change in the number of fish in the lake increasing or decreasing? So we need to know if the rate is increasing or decreasing. So we actually need the derivative of the derivative on this one. So you actually have to take the derivatives of those guys and subtract them. So let's look at putting a derivative mark on it because I did not get the right answer. Oh, there we go. So it's negative 10.7-ish. Okay, which we should really have a better number than that. So it's negative 10.7. Can you not hang on me, please? 228. Okay, which we know is less than 0 or negative. So we would say since, because this is the explanation part, because we were supposed to explain it. E prime of 5 minus L prime of 5. Don't do that. Is less than 0. He's 8. Can you tell? The rate of change in the number of fish is decreasing, because again it was negative, at, and you always want to tell them what time, at t equals 5. I'm sure I'm getting bunny ears and everything else. Okay, any questions on that part? All right, I'm gonna let Andy sit here while I find my notes on the other piece because I've apparently lost them. All right, do you have a good joke for us that's school appropriate?
Yes,
sure it's
I
school
do.
appropriate? You do? All right, lay it on us, dude.
I have a pet snake that is exactly 3.14 meters long.
Okay. You have a pet snake that's 3.14 meters long. What is there anything else you can tell us about this pet snake?
It's a python.
Oh my gosh.
Get it? Pie?
Yes, we get it. It's a python. Oh my gosh. You're not going to wait for the comments? Is Donovan still in here?
Oh, yeah.
You want to hear the construction joke? Hear a construction joke?
Oh, I remember that one. I remember that
All
one.
right, tell him the other joke.
All
I'm
right.
getting 2 jokes today because I'm still looking for my work.
So what do you get when you mix up Legos with a snake? A boa constrictor.
A boa constrictor. Yay, I found my work.
Ha.
All
Ha.
right.
Ha. Ha. Ha.
Nate, what's wrong?
Ha.
I don't know what you're asking.
Which?
Do you want me to go back to that problem, Nate? Okay, get down. We'll see you in a few minutes for Kahoot. Nothing about math.
Nothing about that.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
See you later, alligators.
All right. It was the joke. Okay, I must have. I totally blew. I was only half paying attention. At least it was something that was appropriate. He pulls out some of them that he doesn't understand aren't appropriate. Okay. I think we should let him. Why did the kid couldn't go to the pirate movie? Why not, Maribel? Maribel's telling jokes now. I'll show the points. Oh, the points for D. Yeah, I'll put the points for D on. It was rated R. Oh, that's a good one, Maribel. He'll probably like that one. We'll have to read it to him when he comes back in. All right. The points for this one are you had to consider these guys, so that was a point, and then you had the answer with explanation was 1 point. Okay. All right. So let's go ahead and look at 2017 now that I've found my answers. So 2017 number 2, again, it's going to be a calculator problem. And again, we just need to understand the rates part of it. The calculator piece, we don't need as much this year. Okay. Both good for A, B, and B, C. I have a feeling you're going to see rates in some context of some part of something this year. So, so when a grocery store, and that one, remember, the one we just saw was last year's question. So this one was only 3 years ago. Okay, so these are really contemporary, what the trend has been. And they look like almost identical problems. What last year was, we just did something about fish. Now we're in the grocery store talking about bananas. Apparently they like food. So when a certain grocery store opens, it has 50 pounds of bananas on the display table. That right there is what we call your initial condition. So at t = 0, that's what's going on. There's 50 pounds on the table. Okay. Customers remove bananas from the display table at a rate modeled by, and then that function. Okay. So a rate, remember, means that it is a derivative. So that is already in derivative. Okay. And then they add it at a rate. I should have written derivative above, but it's really derivative on both of those things, right? They both mean derivative. And then where f of t is measured in pounds per hour and t is the number of hours after the store opened. After the store has been open for 3 hours, store employees add bananas to the display, okay? Add a rate modeled by, and then they give us another function. So again, that's a derivative, okay? Where g of t is measured in pounds per hour and t is measuring the number of hours after the store is opened. Okay, so part A, how many pounds removed in the first 2 hours the store is open? Okay, so we only are talking about removal. We're not worried about what was there, how fast they're adding them. We're just talking about removing it. And this, remember, these are the derivatives. So to get back to how many is a total, which means I need to integrate it. So when you see those words, how many, you know you're probably integrating. So I'm going to integrate from 0 to 2 because it said the first 2 hours. And our remove function was the f of t dt. All right, I'm going to go into Desmos because I have this one up and ready for us too. I pre-did it. All right, so that's what we were really only on the window from 0 to, it didn't really say, right? So we're just gonna look at this. Oh, it looks crazy over there. I'm glad we're not going that far. All right, so we're gonna go the integral from 0 to 2 and we wanted the f function, dt. Okay, so 20.051. So 20.051, there's a 117 after it, okay? So that's how many pounds of banana are removed. Again, it's good to complete it with it, put it in a complete sentence. So we would say 20.015 pounds of bananas are removed from the table in the first 2 hours. Sorry, I'm going diagonal. The store is open. All I did was fill in information from the question stem. All right. So next part, part B. Any questions on part A? Oh, the points, probably. Points on part A would be 1 point for the integral and 1 point for this answer. Okay. Part B. Find f prime of 7. That's like a total, like, great. I can do that because all I have to do is either take a quick derivative or put it in my calculator. This year, if they did something like that to you, it might include a chain rule or a product rule or something crazy that you'd have to do. And then using correct units, explain the meaning of f prime of 7 in the context of the problem. It's actually probably good that we did this one second because we kind of did that in the last one. So I'm going to do the f prime of 7 to begin with. So f prime of 7. It is negative 8.1195. So f prime of 7 equals negative 8.119 whatever. Okay, 119 is probably good enough. All right, so I have to explain everything and I have to put the time in there and everything else. Okay, so I got to go back to the stem of the problem. Okay, so that means we were talking, that's talking about the number of hours that this is happening at. So in the first 7 hours, so in first 7 hours, the rate, so this function was related to the removal rate of the bananas. So the rate at which the bananas, I know I'm leaving out a few words, that the bananas are being removed from the table. Are being removed from the table is, okay, now this is where I have to do the calculus part, okay, because we haven't done a whole lot of calculus. What are we going to have to do for that negative? What word am I going to need to put in there? Put it in the chat real quick. Decreasing, I'm seeing. Good job. Okay, so decreasing, decreasing, decreasing. Great job, guys. Okay, so is decreasing. All right. At a rate of, and this is where we put the answer. At a rate of, and you don't put the negative here because we took care of the negative right there. 8.119, and then whatever we're measuring here, pounds, because it did specifically said we had to do units, pounds per hour. Okay, give you a couple seconds there. The points on this one was 1 point for this value and 1 point for the meaning. So especially making sure you got that word decreasing in there. Can you hear the screaming in the background? The 3-year-old is not happy right now. I'm glad I'm not out there dealing with it. All right, let's take a look at part C, okay? So part C says, is the number of pounds of bananas on the display table increasing or decreasing at time t equals 5? Give a reason for your answer. This looks awfully familiar. It looks like part D of this one here, okay? Very similar, only this time I don't think we have to take a funny derivative because it doesn't say rate of change increasing or decreasing. It just says, is it increasing or decreasing? So we know that increasing and decreasing comes from a derivative, okay? So I know I'm already in derivatives, so I'm just going to find, I'm going to subtract the two numbers to see if it's positive or negative. So I'm going to, at this time, so f of 5 minus g of 5. And I need to decide if it's positive or negative. So I'm going to go back here to my Desmos. So f of 5 minus g of 5. We hadn't used g yet. So that's not the number I was supposed to get. What did I do wrong? F of 5 minus g of 5. It was supposed to turn out to be negative of that number. There's something typed wrong somewhere. I was getting the other stuff right. F of 5 minus, oh, it's because it was the other way around. What were my functions meaning? Let's go back. It was supposed to be g of 5. Got to make sure they're in the right order. Minus, and I'll go back and look at the explanation here in a second, okay? So that's the number I'm supposed to be getting. So let's see. Oh, yeah, that makes sense. Okay, so we wouldn't subtract. This means the G means adding and the F means subtracting or removing. So I can see why it was supposed to be in the other order. I just put it in the wrong order. So G is what we're going to add to the table. So it should be a positive value. And then we subtract what's being removed. So that makes sense. All right. And we just said that that number was negative 2.2631-ish. We know that's less than 0. So that means that, again, they like decreasing, don't they? They've done decreasing as kind of a theme for a long time here. So we're going to write our same, this almost the same sentence we did before. Since G of 5 minus F of 5 is less than 0, the number of pounds of bananas on the table is decreasing at t equals 5. Can we write the sentence without the decreasing and just write the final number negative? No, no, they really are going to want to see that word decreasing in that Blanca, okay? It's probably a stronger statement and project that you understand the calculus better, okay? So you want to make that projection that you understand what you're doing and put it in terms of the calculus words. All right, Annie, are we good with the part C? Any questions on that? The points? Points on part C is 1 for basically considering this stuff here. And you can kind of see, now we've done 2 of these that are very similar in a row. They kind of pretty standardized. You can almost pick out where the points are going to come from. Though this year we don't know how many points are going to be on each part. That's a little going to be kind of, they don't know that either. Until the test has been taken, they're not even going to do any of that. So we just know we're going to do a lot of good calculus and hopefully score more than a 40%, because that's passing. Is typically about a 40%. All right, we're going to go to D. So D is telling us how many pounds of bananas are on the display table at time t equals 8. Okay. All right, so again, how many means I'm going to be integrating something. We're going to look at t equals 8, and guess what we haven't used? What is in this problem that we haven't used yet? Type it into the chat for me. Good job. We haven't, you guys really are learning from a distance. I'm really impressed. Okay, so thank you. We have not used this. This thing has been here this whole time. We haven't used one of the 50 pounds of bananas. Okay, so we haven't used that initial condition. We got to start with that. So 50 plus, all right, the integral from 0 to 8. And then we got to do the adding and the removing thing, and we want to make sure that we're doing that in the right order. So we want to do adding first. So g of t minus f of t dt. Okay, and literally that's it. We're going to put that into Desmos here and find a number, and then we will write it in a nice little sentence, and we've got it. Okay, Andy, Kahoot in 2 minutes. All right, 50 plus the integral from 0 to 8, okay, oh, we're good, okay, of, it was g of t first, so g of t minus f of t dt. Oh, and I missed those darn parentheses, so put parentheses around it, because it's still got that error message on it. No piano. All right, so there is my answer. That's not the right answer. What happened? They integrated. Oh, I know what happened. Okay, there's a catch. Okay, so there's another catch in the problem that I didn't write down. Okay, but I'm seeing it right now. After the store has been open for 3 hours, they start. So this doesn't happen, and it's right here. It's actually there. Okay, that doesn't start happening until 3. So I actually have to integrate these separately. So that's my mistake. I'm sorry. Okay. So this happens from 0 to 8. This only happens from 3 to 8. So we just have to go back and integrate again. So let me go do that. All right, so this one is 0 to 3. And do a parentheses, dt. I probably don't need those parentheses anymore there. And then I need an integral from 0 to 8. And do that. It should come up. What's going on? Maybe a parentheses there. What's it not liking? Oh, maybe I need a parentheses right here. Nope. Why doesn't it like it? There's something wrong. Let me type it again. It might just be the way I typed it because I tried to do it inside. All right, so it is g of t first. Oh, I need a dt after that. That's what the problem was. Minus the integral of from 0 to 8 of f of t dt. There we go. So 23.347. Okay. So we've got, let me do that. Okay. So this is 23.347. There's a point there. That's probably enough. I got a 396 after that. Okay. So, and again, we want to communicate in a nice sentence. So 23.347 pounds of bananas. See, it's better when I write flat. Are on the display. I didn't because of using the Desmos back and forth table at time t equals 8. And again, don't use the at symbol. Always write the time. Anytime you write a sentence, make sure you're saying a time or an interval. Okay. All right. Any questions on that one? Andy, you ready? Here he comes. He's got this great hairdo too. It's sticking up still. He didn't comb it very good, huh? He's been in the pool today.
Yes.
Yeah, they were out there for like 3 hours today. Okay. All right. Points. Thank you, Gabby. Points. Their points are 2 for the integrals. So you get 2 points for these. So basically what they would do is they would probably give you 1 point for that part of the integral and 1 point for that. And then there's a point for the final answer. Okay. All right. Kahoot time.
And it's my seat.
And it's your seat. I'm getting kicked out. And I apologize, those of us that are not Star Wars fans. Okay. Whoa. Hopefully you can guess good. All right. Here comes the Kahoot.
Boing, boing.
I'm getting away. I better plug this one in because it's about to die. All right. Whoa. Here we go. Okay. Hit classic. All right. Here it comes, people. You have the Andy commentary track along with it.
8593621.
Okay. So
8593621.
It's in the chat. But you might guess good, Maribel. You should just,
okay.
get in there to guess good. All right,
Connor, I love you, Connor, especially with your puppy. Gabby, please. It's my room after all. Yellow. Wait. Big yellow? I did as a what? Wait, where is? As a porcupine? Seriously? And a Maribel tacos.
Maribel's playing. Good.
An 8.
All right. Oh, an 8. Oh, Nate.
Nate.
Nate. I know what that one is. Nate. Okay. All right, we got 17 out of like 22 today. All right, we do about 10 seconds to get in there, and then we're going to start this thing up. You can still put it in and join after it starts.
7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
All right, let the Andy commentary track begin. Oh,
Nope.
hit start. Dude.
Nope. Yes. There we go.
Okay, I'm sorry. I
Star
will
Wars
get
for
out of your-
fans.
I will get out of your way.
What colors do light Luke Skywalker's lightsaber? Red, blue, green, or purple? People already know this. It's green.
Apparently. So it's just going to be a total spoiler alert for you, dude, because you don't know much about Star Wars, huh? All right, it's green.
Bryce.
Bryce? Okay, we can see who our Star Wars nerds are.
Okay. Why is Darth Vader unable to use the electricity attack of the Sith? He thinks it is a lazy attack. He is a slow learner. He's mostly metal and electronics. The Emperor just won't teach him. I don't know.
An art nerd. Okay, Maribel, let's see if we can find out about art.
Yes. He is mostly metal and electronics. Wow.
Okay, cool. Good to know, right, Andy?
Yeah.
Okay, next.
Whoa, Connor just moved up and like, wow.
All right.
He's in second place already, right behind Bryce.
Marvel. Okay, we can do Marvel.
What is the mission Yoda sent Obi-Wan to Tanui for?
Tattooing.
Learn how to transcend death, to be a slave trader, to be a moisture farmer, or to hunt down Tusken Raider.
That's tattooing.
Tattooing. Okay, fine. Okay. Tanui. Alright. Learn how to.
Yeah, I would definitely fail too, Gabby.
Oh, same amount of answers as to hunt down Tusken Raiders. Wow, Bryce.
It's amazing. Maybe we all need to have a Star Wars watch party after the AP test.
Episode 4, A New Hope. Who does Darth Vader force, choke, but not kill? Admiral Tarkin, Conan the Barbarian, General Kasigo Tage, or Count Antonio Nohi? Okay. I know it! It was bold!
All right, keep going.
No
Who
man
knew that?
can.
The top two probably knew that. Let's see. Did it change?
Combo
No.
Breaker 5?
Nope, keep going. Okay. Bryce and Connor have got this apparently today.
How does Obi-Wan know the Jawas are not really attacked by Sand People? Because they killed them himself. The blast marks too accurate for Sand People. He knows it was Jawas. And Qui-Gon
Nate's
Jinn
already
told
done.
him during meditation.
It was a sign, Gabby.
The blast marks too accurate for Sand People. Whoa.
All right. Keep going.
No meaning. Where do Jedis get their lightsabers from? Lightsabers URS, Yoda told them they must construct them on Earth. They must kill another Jedi to take it from them.
Which one do you think
Please,
it is?
God, do not do greed.
Which one do you think it is?
Yes, I knew it. They must construct them on own. Yeah, you are used.
All right. You guys in square. Okay, keep going.
Yeah, definitely can. Trust me, do
We
not kill
definitely
another
figured out
Jedi.
There's
Do
no,
not kill a Jedi.
where are all the females? There's no females in the top 5. Okay, keep going.
And Nate.
All right.
What does Qui-Gon Jinn think Anakin will grow up to do? Bring balance to the Force, turn to the dark side, father a herd of young Jedi, marry Jar Jar Binks. That's really rude. Bring balance to the Force. Wow.
Well, I'm glad you're good at math.
Connor is.
Yeah, I know, Gabby. I was thinking the same thing. I just wasn't gonna say it.
Wow, he was so close to beating Bryce because, like, look at the numbers.
I know. Okay, keep going.
So
It is close. Connor's catching up.
How many times did Anakin's Power Racer break down the Bone to Eve classic race? None. It was perfect. It crashed and burned. 10 times. Twice. Once because of Saluba. Zaboo.
Yes, and Connor.
Zaboo. Twice. Once because of Sabu.
I don't know what that word even says. Okay, great. We're probably not pronouncing it right. Okay, keep going.
Who is Boba Fett in relation to Jango? His second cousin's neighbor's kid, an alterated clone, his son, his ex-wife's stepdad's nephew.
We can do Harry Potter. We know nothing about that either.
Yeah, I don't even know Harry Potter, and Mom says, tell you later. Okay.
I'll try to give you guys a heads up
Whoa!
on what we'll do the theme on, so you can get
That's
a chance to
great
watch it.
comeback from Lorenzo because he just kicked out Connor.
All right, next one, Andy.
Who shot first? Han Solo, Greedo, Ben Solo. What are you talking
I
about?
have a feeling a lot of people are going to be playing green square.
Yes. Oh my! What are you talking about? Han Solo. Ben Solo. There isn't even a Ben Solo.
Apparently, David's doing well.
Whoa!
Oh, Lorenzo made it. Is now the bigger Star Wars nerd. Awesome. Okay, keep going.
Who does Leia find out that she and Luke are siblings? They are? Before she kissed him. When she kissed him. In episode 6 when Luke tells her. But in episode 6, when Luke tells her.
Sweet Home Alabama is one of my favorites, Gabby. But yeah, it's not a. I guess he could still do commentary on it, even though he's not allowed to watch it.
Okay.
That's like one of my husband's.
Sweet Home California. Okay, nice. Let's
Sweet
not
Home
talk about
Alabama.
that.
Okay.
Who is arguably the single worst character in the Star Wars cinematic universe? Jar Jar Binks, BB-8, Anakin Skywalker, or Widget the Ewok? I would have to say
No, Nacho Libre. Sorry.
Jar Jar Binks.
You think you're just giving the answer?
No, it's
not. That. You're not. You've never seen any of them.
It is Jar Jar Binks. Oh, I did not know that.
All right, keep going.
Oh my gosh, I'm just such a smarty pants.
You're a smarty pants, huh?
What's the name of the animal that the sand people ride? Google, furry elephant, bantha, tauntaun. I already know. Bantha. I knew it. I just knew it.
Okay, keep going. Last question.
Oh my. How old is Yoda before he dies in episode 6?
So spoiler alert, episode
100, 500, over 910,000. Oh, Yoda.
Sorry.
Feel so bad for him. Feel so bad.
I didn't remember that.
He dies in 6 episodes. That is so weird. Over 900. I got that shit.
900.
And
Okay.
definitely not 100.
All right, hit the button. Let's see who the biggest Star Wars nerds are. Connor.
Right? I know who it is.
Look, Lorenzo got a big smile on his face too. Lorenzo won today. All right, who's fourth and fifth?
Nate and
Nate
Miguel.
and Miguel. All right.
I
So
love porcupines.
oh yeah, he noticed porcupine, Miguel. Reference to
I know that at the beginning, Bob. Did you notice?
Oh, okay, I missed it. All right.
Sandra.
Okay, Andy. What? No, we can't do Nacho Libre. I'm sorry. I haven't seen it, and it's probably not rated something appropriate. All right, so Andy, let's tell them what theme we're going to pick on Monday, so they have a chance to maybe watch the movie before Monday. So what movie theme should we pick? Do you have one that you've seen recently that you'd like to do a Kahoot on?
Yeah, that's gonna be a hard one. I would have to say.
Come over here so where they can see you. Okay, so what would you say? Toy Story, Cars, Up, Moana, Frozen 2,
Let's go with
Parent Trap, High School Musical.
Frozen 2.
Okay, so Monday's Kahoot. To all of your, is going to be on Frozen 2. Okay.
Parent Trap.
All right, so
Oh,
we will do Frozen. So if you haven't seen Frozen 2, you need to go watch it.
It's
Okay.
not smooth.
All right. It's actually got Kristoff sings in this one. It's got a lot of boy stuff in it.
Oh, it's like Chicago. It's like Chicago.
He sings like the band Chicago in it. So, in some respects, we think it's better than Frozen 1. Okay. All right. So, all right. The Kristoff 80s love song. Okay. Olaf and Sven are in there too. Okay. It is a Disney movie. Okay. All right. Well, go look up random facts on Frozen 2 or read the plot line. Okay. All right.
Elsa is the
I like
best
Elsa
period.
too. All right. So, but I like Anna too. Hey, no, we don't do that. All right. So we will try to get him to pick something besides Frozen 2 for Monday or for Tuesday.
Okay.
Oh yeah, there's Troll Hunters and there's all kinds of good stuff in there. Okay. So, all right. I will see you guys on Monday. Have a good rest of your weekend. Okay. And I will let you know. And I know I still got to get stuff posted. Okay. All right.
Mr. Dog, when on Monday?